Hey, Aileen, what do your God bumps feel like?
My GodBumps come in voices or really, really strong feelings. I had one that woke me up one time. I was renting a house with someone else, could barely put two nickels together at the end of the month. And I had something wake me up in the middle of the night. It said, buy a house. And I literally sat up in bed and laughed and said, with whose good looks and whose money? Because I don't have either. And I went back to bed. And it happened again. Buy a house. What? And the third time this woke me up in the middle of the night, I started to tell people about it. I don't know how this is going to happen, but it will. And 9 months later, I walked into my very first home, still startled and stunned, but I did it all on my own. And yeah, that was my first home. I was very proud of it. I've had other God bumps. Another one was I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard, stop drinking caffeine. I was a strong caffeine drinker. I loved my coffee in the morning. I could get to work. I could get to wherever I was going. But once I got there, I had my big mug. It said Office Goddess on it. And I would pick it up and I would take it down to the coffee place downstairs from my office, and I would hand it to them and they would fill it up for me. And one day it was, no more caffeine. What? How does one function without caffeine? So I did it. I did cold turkey. Took me about a week. I didn't get headaches. I didn't get none of that restlessness that some people talk about. But it took me about a week in order to feel normal. I realized that water is an amazing thing, and I haven't had caffeine in almost 10 years now.
Sweet.
So if you do see me with coffee, it's decaf.
Okay.
It has a little bit. I've tried putting caffeine back in my life. My body does not react well to it.
Okay.
So that's how I get God bumps. It's a feeling or something waking me up in the middle of the night.
Okay. What do your God bumps feel like emotionally?
How do my God bumps feel like emotionally? You're making noise. Can you stop?
It's okay.
That's a good question.
Thank you.
Emotionally, my God bumps feel like, hold on, I have to find the words for it.
Okay.
Emotionally, my God bumps feel like possibility. At first, it's me that questions it. But when I hear it or have that really strong feeling, I now know it's not, it's coming, it's clear. When I now know that when I have that feeling or that ask me the question again.
What do your God bumps feel like emotionally?
Okay. My God bumps feel like clarity to me. They didn't used to. They used to freak me out. They used to scare me. They often will come as a surprise, and it's my own judgment that doubts them. It's when I let myself get in the way of it that the fear could come in. Versus I've learned since is to just let it be, and if it's supposed to, it will. That's how I landed here in front of you.
Cool. Okay. So, how often do you receive God bumps?
Oh, how often do I receive God bumps?
Yeah.
I receive God bumps more often than I probably acknowledge. I think that they're coming all the time, that the universe is always giving me something. It's the big ones that come as this overwhelming feeling or that wake me up in the middle of the night. The ones that seemingly come out of left field, but then I realize later that, oh, this has been coming if I look back on the path. I think every day I get something. I get something, whether it be a part of my meditation, my prayer, sitting and talking with someone. or reading, something always comes through.
Cool. When was the first time you received GodBumps?
Oh gosh. Poppy, stay, please. I know. The first time I received a God bump that I remember, because I'm sure I received them my whole life, right? The first time I remembered, I was in preschool in Saratoga, California, village preschool. And I walked in, and I know it sounds posh, but it wasn't. We had a teacher that taught us some French words. And she was teaching me the word for ball, le ball. And I felt it then. Like, oh, there was something bigger than me. And in that moment as a preschooler, it came through as language. Language was different from me, but yet still a part of who I was, no matter whether it was English or French. It was all one. That was my first realization of a God bump.
Cool. So what seems to bring on your God bumps?
Oh, what brings on my God bumps?
Yeah.
Transformation. The big ones, it's transformation. When I'm ready for a shift in what's going on in my world. For example, going to school to be a minister and thinking, I don't know what my ministry is going to look like, right? I wanted to stay where I was and maybe work at the center that I was at. And yet the universe said, oh, no. No. You're going to go to where you find healing, because Mendocino County is where I've always found healing since I was a little girl. And you're going to go there. You're going to go there.
Okay. So can you invoke God bumps?
Can I invoke God bumps?
Can you bring them on?
I think anybody can invoke a God bump if they're willing to be connected to source, something bigger than they are. If I choose to be an open vessel, that's when the God bumps come really easily. If I choose to be grounded, especially if I'm not feeling grounded, I'm feeling impatient in line at a grocery store or something, I could take a deep breath and ground myself, and then the God bumps come. Like suddenly everyone is a part of me. It's wild. It's wild.
Do you use God bumps for guidance?
Oh, do I use God bumps for guidance?
Yeah.
All the time. That's how I got here, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it for my questions. Do you have any final comments about God bumps? Or questions?
Well, you define God bumps as a connection with the divine, right? So I think that everyone can have a connection with the divine, whether we choose to, and sometimes even when we don't, right? There are people that can be living life one way and then suddenly, poof, they have a realization. It's happened to me, where I'm living life a certain way and then suddenly, wait, that's not working anymore. And they can come in various different ways. Those messages can come whether it's someone waking us up, a voice waking us up in the middle of the night, or a gut feeling, or even through the actions of others and how those actions land on us. That can be that spiritual 2x4, for lack of a better term. That realization that like kind of wonks us in the head and says, it makes us wake up to our own divinity. Can we fall out of that? Absolutely. I think we can fall away from it as well, just by turning off that inner ear. So it's about turning it on. And
Yeah.
it's available to everyone all the time.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Eileen. This is really helpful.
Thanks, Davey. I appreciate your time.